What's remarkable that India has been able to create, and the electoral infrastructure, I think, is part of this, is a representative order. It's not just that India has elections, it's that India has parties which have a kind of continental footprint. And if you think about Europe's struggle to try to build a representative order today, the complete illegitimacy of the kind of Brussels and other parliaments, that's not, I mean, India somehow has been able to create, and that's a very difficult task, building organizations of that scale. And indeed, Salman Khurshid comes from, is part of a party which is part of that.
I go beyond the learning experience. I think there's something that India has to learn as well from itself, and indeed from other democracies. And the big crisis, I believe, and people like Sunil would examine this more carefully, the big crisis in India today is that we have vast majorities representing people who are actually less than 35% of the popular vote. Now, I know that the United States has a peculiar problem there as well, but for us, the fact that 35% have an overwhelming majority in Parliament and could perhaps even reach a stage where they can overturn the Constitution and amend the Constitution in a manner which is unimaginable. And that's what worries India today. But the thing to do for India, I believe, is to examine democracies that have proportional representation, that have a list system. We have little groups that hold the entire electorate to ransom, because they are concentrated and very powerful in small pockets, but in terms of the vast Indian landscape, they may not have a great meaning at all. And if we were to switch to a proportional representation list system, I know that you'll have something interesting there to say, but it may address some of the very critical issues that we face today. The reason why nobody's thought of this in the past in our country is, and I must be candid and admit, that if you have a comfortable majority at 30%, why would you want to share the 70% with somebody else, right? So that is a critical problem, but I do believe we will have to examine this at some stage.
The problem about getting that change, and I've been involved in discussions about proportional representation in Britain for a couple of decades, is the problem is that you have to be empowered to get it through, and once people are in power, power is delightful.